Thank you for listening to the BJJ Brick Podcast. We'll be bringing you Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and good times. We hope to flatten your Jiu-Jitsu learning curve, help you get the most out of your grappling ability, and meet your goals both on and off the mat.
Welcome to the BJJ Brick Podcast. Today I've got Gary with me. We're going to be talking about developing a BJJ training plan to help you get focused and headed in the right direction. How you doing today, Gary?
Man, I'm doing great. I'm powered up to over 9,000, so I'm ready to go. I'm ready.
I'm stuck at 7 right now, but hopefully in a little bit I'll get up there where he's at.
You need to have an energy drink there, Byron. You know, I don't power up all the time, but when I do, it's over 9,000.
It's over 9,000. There you go. The most interesting man in the room.
Let's take a minute to thank our sponsor, Fujisports.com. I want you guys to think about getting the Fuji Sports High Capacity Duffel Bag. It's got room for everything you need to take to the gym, my friends. Easily fit your gi in there, top and bottom. It even has a side compartment that is insulated, so you can keep your cool drinks cool and you're warm. If you're bringing in warm food, you can keep it warm in there as well. Another side pocket for your things like rash guards, maybe a pair of shorts in there. It's got a place to hold down your laptop if you're going to take it to the gym and go over some techniques online. And a nice pocket on the other side to carry little things. For like me, you're always using your phone in your gym bag. Check out the Fuji Sports High Capacity Duffel Bag, my friends, if you're needing a bag to take to the gym.
Well, Gary, let's get to our quote of the week. It's a little different. It's from a movie from this film some of you guys may have heard of called Pulp Fiction. It's 1994. I say that because high school kids today don't know that movie.
That's true.
And that was like a landmark movie. I don't know about you, but when I was 17, I'm like, that is a crazy movie.
Yeah, you're surprised when people haven't heard of that movie.
Yeah,
it's
I'm old.
Kind of like the time where you had never heard of Bloodsport.
No, it was a different one. It was, I forget what it was. You guys were teasing me pretty bad about that.
Yeah.
Was it
Roadhouse?
Roadhouse, yes.
I can't believe you haven't
I still
watched
haven't seen
Roadhouse.
that.
But okay, this one's from Pulp Fiction. We'll save that for another episode.
It's a simple quote. Do you listen or do you wait to talk? And that's going to go, that's all over life. It's in relationships, you know. Who's not guilty of that when they're talking with their spouse about waiting their turn to chime in and say their clever little remark? I know I've done that, you know, that's pretty common. But in jiu-jitsu, you're learning a technique, the instructor's showing everybody's in a big circle looking at the technique, and you're already picking apart how you're going to modify that and make it to where you could show this cool little addition to your training partner of the day. Are you listening to what they're saying, or are you already off in your own mind somewhere else? You might miss some pretty big details.
Yeah, you're definitely going to miss things, and you know, first of all, your instructor's probably not going to be too happy with you.
Yeah.
But you know, your instructor's showing it to you for a reason. You know, get the basics of that move down before you start, you know, trying to experiment. And you know, but you know, if your instructor's showing it, practice that move. I know we've talked about that before. Don't start, you know, going on to your own little thing. You know, save that if you're going to do it for after class with your buddy, or you know, rolling in your garage, or with your kid or your dog or whatever.
Yeah. I'm guilty of this one. I need to do a better job of listening during the instruction phase of the class. It's not common, but every couple of months we break from the instruction part of it, and you go walk over there with your partner to start doing it. It's like, you go first. I don't know what we're doing now. Like it already left my mind.
But I don't think it's always like that total scenario, because that happens to me sometimes.
Yeah.
And I just don't really know where to go. You know, it's like it's maybe a move that I don't do, and
yeah.
And maybe I'd rather have somebody do it on me first, and just figure out where to go from there. But yeah, sometimes I do just totally miss everything.
Do you listen or wait to talk? So I think the thing that you should strive to do is to listen and show the person that you're talking with the respect, and you know, not everybody's worth listening to either.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Well, you know, I mean, I know we're talking about quotes. One of my favorite quotes has always been, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth. You should listen twice as much as you talk, and I think that kind of goes hands in hand with this quote right here.
Good point, Gary.
Well, thank you, Byron.
I also have 2 eyes, so I'm also watching twice as much as I talk.
That's great, and I have 10 fingers.
10
or 8
times.
fingers and
8 fingers and 2 thumbs.
Yeah.
And that's for grappling. So that's 10 times more grappling than you do talking.
Well, Byron's been grappling so long, he now has 6 toes on each foot.
It's
He's
actually
evolved.
more of a liability.
He's evolved, and he's grown an extra long.
Growing an extra long.
That would be nice.
Put it in my legs so I can get choked out as easy. Gary, you've got an article for us.
Yeah, definitely. The article of the month, it's from grapplearts.com. Stefan Kesting, as usual, he's got a lot of great stuff out there. But this one's titled Beware of the Belt Chaser. And basically what he's saying is, people like the reassurance, that they're progressing in an activity, in jiu-jitsu, and, and that's done, by stripes, and belts. They're showing you that you're progressing. But one thing he says is there's a downside to that rank, and he calls it a belt chaser. And a person's a belt chaser when the main thing that motivates him or her is trying to achieve that next belt, or getting the next stripe, or as he says, getting a gold star on his uniform, whatever martial art that is. But, and instead of worrying about learning, they're worrying about, what they need to get their next rank, what move do they need to get to the next belt, and, they're so obsessing, about why they didn't get promoted and other people did. Hey, I should have gotten promoted. Why did this person get promoted? And, basically what he thinks that can happen to this belt chaser is, it can ruin a relationship with a teacher, or with a school and with a martial art. It's like all of a sudden you get down on it. I've seen that happen a lot of times, and I know you probably have too.
Asking your teacher for your, I think I'm ready to test. Usually that's going to delay your test a little bit.
Yeah.
At best. I mean, the teacher could resent that. They're watching you, whether you know it or not. I mean, they're concerned about your development and your training.
Yeah.
They'll know when you're ready.
Yeah, and your teacher wants to promote people. It's not like the teacher wants a whole school of white belts. Nobody really wants that. You want to promote people. Your teacher's not looking not to promote people, but there's that point you don't want to promote somebody who doesn't deserve it. And I think that's one of the allures of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I mean, it's a long process to get a black belt, to even get a blue belt, to get a purple belt. Purple belts are considered just incredible, and that's in the middle of the road.
Yeah.
And, and I think that's why the achievement of getting a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is just incredible. It's a long process. You're not going to get it, in 2 years, just by showing up for 2 classes a week.
Yeah, you mentioned that in the article. It's hard to get passed over. Have somebody else that started maybe even a little bit after you get their belt before you got yours. That everybody, when you get your blue belt, that is you as a blue belt. Now, if you're 55 years old as a blue belt, you're not going to be the same as a 21-year-old blue belt. So if you're 21 and you start the same day as the 55-year-old guy, and he's really diligent in training and learning and stuff, you could still get the better of him on the mat, but he's the blue belt version of himself. He could be that before you're the blue belt. You might be a tougher blue belt than him when you get to that point. But there's something to be said for somebody who's a good blue belt, and not just an average blue belt. Some people are they have the strength, the speed, the discipline off the mat to become, to become effective at the belt they're at more than other people.
Yeah, and what you're talking about, the age difference and everything too. It's like if you started at 55 years old and you're a little breaking down, you're not as fast or not as strong or not as great at cardio, you would never be able to attain a black belt. If you had to go by, oh, you've got to be so good at everything, because you're not going to be as quick or as, being able to pull off some of the moves that 22-year-old blue belt can do.
Absolutely. Or the 22-year-old black belt.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. But
it's the black belt version of yourself.
Yeah, and you're gonna better yourself. You're gonna learn more moves. You're gonna be that much better. But there's even more to skill level. There's the devotion. To the school, how much you help out at the school. There's a lot that goes into it. And
attitude.
Attitude's a big thing there. Be a gentleman, as Pedro Sauer said.
Yeah, that's a big part of jiu-jitsu. The article goes on. As a martial arts instructor, ask yourself, do you want the students to be training for mastery of the art or for the achievement of the next rank?
And I don't think anybody would want, you want the mastery of the art.
Yeah, your goal is to get better at jiu-jitsu, a little bit at a time. The belts, they happen. It's a natural process. But on the other side, they can be good rewards for people for their hard work.
Yeah, and earlier today, Byron and I were talking, and we got our blue belts together, and I was telling Byron, I just remember that day, and I didn't necessarily want to test for my blue belt at that time, but I tell you, when I got it, and I tested for my blue belt because my instructor told me to. He said I was ready, and I tell you, when I got that blue belt, man, what a feeling!
Yeah,
I was on top of the world, and such a you climb that hill, and all of a sudden you get rewarded like that. So that reward is very, very important, very huge.
That being said, if you had kind of pushed your way to your blue belt and you felt that you deserved it a long time ago, or you're like, finally, I get recognized. I've been working so hard for so long, and I've been beating other blue belts, and all that. You're not going to get that same feeling and the same memory of. You want it to be a positive experience. It's an honor to get promoted to it.
Yeah, it's an honor. Definitely an honor. It's a great feeling.
I can attest that Gary is definitely not a belt chaser. He doesn't worry about the belt. So
I just have so much fun doing this sport, belt or no belt.
Yeah.
So I just enjoy the sport.
There's a lot of comments, as always, on the grapplearts.com. I found one that very interesting. I'll read it for you guys. By PJ. I think once jiu-jitsu becomes a lifestyle, you tend to lose focus on the color of your belt and focus on the relationship with your sensei, brothers, and of course yourself. I once read, you only get your black belt once, enjoy the journey. So it is more, according to his statement, it's more about your relationship with the people you're training with than getting a better belt color.
I like to enjoy the journey. It's a long process. It's going to be filled with ups and downs, but most of it are going to be ups. There's going to be a ton of ups, and just enjoy it. Just have fun. It's going to come.
Another great article by Stephen Kestings. It's grapplearts.com. We'll put a link to it in the notes. As always, we do appreciate his hard work.
Yeah, definitely. Grapplearts.com. Stephen Kesting has a lot of videos, a lot of articles. Very, very knowledgeable, and I look at his stuff all the time to help me out of plateaus or whatever else I'm dealing with in jiu-jitsu.
And if you're thinking about this article, and hey, maybe I'm a belt chaser, I think it's a natural thing for people to want the next belt sometimes, but just don't have that be your only goal, because a lot of that's blue belts quit. They reach that goal and then they quit because they've made their goal and they're good to go.
When they say a black belt is a person who never quit.
There you go. Just a white belt that didn't give up.
Yeah, yep. And it's a lot easier to quit than it is to keep going. But like PJ said, it becomes a lifestyle. Enjoy the journey. And if you're having fun, you're going to be training for the long haul.
All right, Gary, let's get to talking about developing a BJJ game plan. I've got 3 steps for us to cover, and then I did my own game plan.
Ah, there we go.
The first step, I'll just run through the 3, is to set your objectives. Second step is to find help, and the third is to do the work. So, you are in charge of getting better as a grappler. It's not really up to your instructor to figure out your game plan.
Yeah, your instructor's got anywhere from 10 to 50 to 100 students. They don't have time, to sit with each one and develop a specific game plan. They're going to point you on the right direction. They're going to, offer advice. They're going to teach you a lot of new moves and a lot of the basics. But, you also have to realize that you have control over your own path, and you have to put the work in too. You have to, always be tinkering with your game, figuring out what works best for you, and go from there. And I think if you do it that way, you're going to have a better chance of succeeding.
Yep. You need to so to set your objective, the first step, pick a goal or an objective or something that you want to work towards. Don't make it super easy. I don't. My goal isn't to tap out all the white belts with a guillotine. Not that it's always easy, but I could probably accomplish that most of the time. Maybe a goal would be to start tapping out, higher level guys or guys that I can't usually tap out with a particular move. But don't make it impossible. I'm not going to want to. Everybody who comes in and teaches a seminar, I'm not going to tap out these guys with these moves.
Yeah, that's true.
So make your goal realistic, but do make it to where you have to work for it.
Yeah, and definitely working for it, and then if you do hit it, man, that's such a reward, especially when you didn't make it too easy. And, it's just exhilarating to finally, hit that goal.
So I'd say if you're gonna do this with us today, to write up a game plan, get out a piece of paper and a pen, or a Crayola, whatever you're gonna write with.
Pencil, Sharpie, paint, spray paint. If you're using spray paint, please do not spray it into a sock.
Do it in a well-ventilated room.
Yeah. Yep.
But if you write down your goal, it skyrockets the odds of you achieving that goal. So write down your objective. I have some examples of some objectives. You might have the objective of to learn a new skill or to get better at an old one. So I might want to learn a new gi choke that I want to become proficient at, or I might want to sharpen up my triangle, which I haven't done for quite a while. Gary, can you think of anything that rings a bell?
Basically the same thing. Is just looking for something that I haven't been doing as well, or basically what I've been working on here lately is working on my escapes. Normally, I'll turn into somebody, but I've been trying to roll the other way. And I used to do it years ago and had great luck with it, and it kind of fell out. So I'm trying to reacquire that skill. I was actually working on it the other day, and so I'm gonna put that back into my bag of tricks.
It's always fun to bring back old techniques. And
you forget stuff.
Not that hard to dust off usually.
No, not at all.
Another example of an objective might be nice. Another example of an objective might be to have just better offense in general or better defense in general. That's pretty simple. But if you're always in a dominant position but you can't finish the person, you need to figure out some better offense for yourself to get to the finish.
And really, that's the key of jiu-jitsu. Is to finish. And holding top position is great, and really having a grinding top game is awesome. But you want to be able to finish. That submission is the fun part.
Another example of some objectives would be, stuff with your body, like weight loss, weight gain, become stronger, more flexible, increase your speed,
the flexibility, all that, and your cardio. That's a big one you hear right there. Let's get my cardio up. I've got a tournament coming, or I'm always getting tired while rolling.
Yeah.
And you always look at, everybody's always wants to increase their cardio.
Yeah, that's. Everybody wants better cardio, but nobody wants to go out there and do it every day.
Yep.
It's fun to be on the mats. It's not always fun to go jog a few miles.
Yep.
So that's kind of what we run into as far as not having the best cardio. So those are just some examples of objectives. You got to figure out your own that would fit good for you.
Yeah, everybody's got their own unique skill set and stuff they want to work on, and just because all your buddies are working on perfecting the Barambola doesn't mean that you have to do that. What specific skill do you want to work on? What objective do you have for your game? And you don't have to copy people. What works best for you?
Step 2 in this 3-step program. Step B.
Roman numeral 2 1s.
1 1 I.
Yeah.
Would be to find some help. You're not gonna. You could do this on your own just by trying real hard, but you're gonna do better off with some help.
Yeah.
Talk to your coach right off the bat. Say, hey, I'm looking to get a better attack game from mount. So that's what I'll be focused on that. You can't expect the whole class to change to attack from mount every day.
Yep.
That's very selfish to think that would be the result of that. But your coach could he could watch you. You've got mount. Okay, then maybe I'll pay attention to see what you do, and maybe give some pointers afterwards.
Yeah.
Or coach you on the side.
Yeah, definitely hit up your coach. The other thing I would look for is if I am working on mount, what one of my training partners has a great attacking mount. Your instructor may not have that game, or he's definitely going to know it, he or she, but it may not be that person's primary A game. But I can guarantee you, one of your training partners is going to have a dominating mount, very aggressive offensive mount. And, I go pick that person's brain. I've watched him pull stuff off against everybody. And if it's working for him, I can make it work for me.
Yeah. And that's a big part of finding help. Find 2 to 5 or, a handful of other students that are going to be able to help you with this particular training to where they know if you're working on, okay, so let's say I want to work on mount. Well, okay, if I'm a blue belt, I can't go pick all the purple belts to work on mount because I'm not going to get to mount.
Yeah.
And it's a little socially awkward to always ask, can I start in mount? So maybe I will be, maybe on my list I'll write down some names of a blue belt and a couple of white belts that that are giving me a good role, but I could get to the mount to where I can try these techniques.
Yeah. And, you also got to realize what's in it for the partner you're rolling with. That person's going to be very good defensively from the mount, too. And that's the good thing is when you're helping a specific partner work on a part of that person's game, you're going to get good on the defensive part of the game.
Yeah.
If you're that person's main, learning partner.
It's mutually beneficial.
Yeah. So, you got to make sure that the person you're training with realizes, understands that. And, boy, I tell you, I've been on the defensive side of people working on stuff, and, man, it's eye-opening, just how much better your defense gets. And you can't go wrong with better defense.
Yeah. That being said, it's if your goal is to get a better defense, it's a little easier to ask, hey, you want to start in mount, and I'm going to work on getting out. They may or may not go real hard with you, and that's up to them because it feels like they didn't earn the mount. But it's easier to ask to start that way and put yourself there to begin with. Then you might pick on, if you're that blue belt working on defense or mount, you might be able to get some purple belts to start with mount that you could eventually escape on.
And a word of caution, if you're trying to get better defensively, and let's say you want to get better at rear naked choke defense, don't let the guy fully lock it in and shut both your carotids off before you start defending, because that may not end too well.
Gary always with the really good advice there.
I'm known for good advice.
Put you to sleep. The other part of finding help would be to study, and that's going to take place off the mat. I've got a lot of jiu-jitsu books. If you've got some DVDs, hit YouTube up. There's a difference between watching one video on YouTube and watching 10 about the same thing. That you're going to find stuff that's related in the 10, even if they're all 10 just average videos. They're going to become better as you watch them all, and you're going to find which videos you like and what instructors you enjoy and learn from.
I think that's big. You find an instructor online there that has some videos out there, but you just really take to the way they explain stuff, and I found some that way myself, and so then I always search that person first. I really like their stuff, and hopefully they got something on whatever game plan I'm working on.
So that was number 2, finding help. Step C.
Or 3.
Or 3.
Or 3 ones.
I. Would be to do the work. None of this is going to help you. The watching videos online, the talking with your teammates, it's not going to help you unless you
do the work.
Put the work in.
Yeah.
It's going to be a little bit of a growth phase to where it's harder for you for a little while than it was the day before when you're grappling, because you're exploring a new part of your game.
And you better be prepared for that right off the bat, because your game's the short-term game, you may get tapped more often if you're working defense, or you may feel awkward because you're working on something that you're not great at. And be prepared for that. But, that's just in the short term. In the long run, you're going to learn a ton. Your game's going to explode. So, just keep an open mind and enjoy it.
If your goal was to lose weight, you could research about how to, proper nutrition and proper technique of, your cardio if you're going to start running, some of that.
Caloric burn.
All that doesn't do anything for you until you start doing it.
Yeah.
You've got to change your eating habits. That's doing the work. You've got to get out there and do your cardio exercises. And
it kind of reminds me of the book smart versus street smart you always hear about.
Yeah.
The book smart, knows all about, how many calories you're supposed to take in, how many you burn. They know the ins and outs of, every type of protein and this and that. But nothing happens. But the street smart guy, he's out there hustling. He's out there, running, playing basketball, lifting. And, you got to do the work.
You got to. And then let's give a couple more examples if you want to increase your speed. I think speed in jiu-jitsu can be deceptive. Because if I'm able to predict the next move, I'm going to seem a lot faster. And I won't be faster, but it's going to be like, man, he was all over that.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not even just the prediction part that's going to make you faster. Better technique, you're going to be more efficient in your moves. You're going to be cleaner, cutting the corner. You're not going to be wide.
Yeah.
Like somebody can be much faster, but they're taking a wide turn. Me being a little older, I can still just hit the ending point faster by
shortcut.
Yeah. Not just shortcut.
You know where they're going to end up.
Yeah,
so
I'm more efficient on my techniques.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
yep. It's back to speed. Maybe you need to watch some online training videos about how to develop the faster muscle twitches. And some explosive exercises you could do. And then watching that video will help you as much as watching the jiu-jitsu video, unless you go out there and do it. You're going to have to get out there and do the explosive exercises. And you can become faster. I mean, that's your body you could change it. You're
definitely
not stuck with it in anything in particular. Same thing with flexibility. I can watch yoga videos all day long, but I'm not going to become flexible unless I get on the ground and start doing my yoga.
Yeah.
So those are just some examples of doing some work. It may not be fun. It's going to be different for you, especially with if your goal has to do more with jiu-jitsu, like more arm bars or more escapes or better escapes or whatever, you're going to have holes in your game exposed temporarily that weren't always exposed.
Yeah, so, it's going to happen.
But do set yourself up for success just by knowing that it'll be a little bit rocky. You've got the team of your teammates, there's 2 to 5 people with you that are going to help you, that know, okay, this guy's working on getting out of side control. I worked with him last week on it. Let's see if he's gotten any better at it.
Yeah, and your training partners are going to see the difference. They'll be like, man, the first week I was holding you down. You weren't even getting out. You weren't moving. You might be lucky at the end of the round to finally escape. Now you're escaping constantly, and they're going to give you feedback. Positive and negative. They're going to tell you if they're seeing something. That you might be a little off on, and keep an open mind. Keep listen, and learn, listen and learn. But do the work is the key.
Listen, like the quote of the week, listen. Or are you waiting to talk?
Yeah.
So I went through, and I've set a new objective for myself.
Oh.
It is an area of my game that's weak. Is getting somebody off my back. I'm fortunate that not a lot of guys get to my back, and that's part of the problem. That when they do get back there, I'm in trouble. So I'm going to be working on that. So I went through the list and I filled that out, and let's run through those so you have a better example of this. My objective, I wrote down 2 things: not get tapped from the back as much. So I know with who I have on my back what the percent odds. Some guys, Jake Smith and Jake Fox back there, they are probably going to tap me out. I'm probably not going to escape. We we've got some blue belts that get on my back. It takes me forever to get them off of there.
Yeah.
I know that I'm not in a huge danger at this time, but I want out. And
Yeah,
it's
you want out. You want
longer than it should.
Yep, you want to get to an offensive position.
So, and then my other objective is to escape to a dominant or at least neutral position. So I need to find a way to not get him off my back and to mount. Basically, is what that means.
That's not fun.
That's not my goal. That's from into the into more just as much trouble. Let's see. Step 2: finding help. I'm going to talk to Coach Jake Fox about it. Let him know I'll be working with guys on my back quite a bit. I'm going to talk to Gary about it and see if he's got any tips for me. He knows what my back escape game is like, and I'm sure he's got some holes. And as I learn about these things, I'm sure I'm going to have a better back attack as well.
Yeah, it goes both ways. It'll help you offensively and defensively.
So those are my two main coaches I'll be talking with. I wrote down some training partners that I'm going to be working with here. Jake Fox did it again. We've had him on the show. If you want to check out the interview, it was a fun one to do with him. But he's got, and I wrote down kind of what these people are going to help me with in particular. Jake Fox, when he gets my back, he is likely to armbar me. I defend the choke like I defend the choke from anybody else. I don't want to get choked. But it's like he doesn't care. He just wants to tap me. Like he doesn't care if it's a choke or an armbar. And a lot of guys get that blinder on of, I've got to choke. No, Jake is happy to do the armbar. So it'll help me learn to not get armbar from the back, which is a nice feature for having him as one of my guys listed here. And he has, when I'm on his back, he's really good about breaking the grips.
He's great at breaking the grips,
especially with the gi on. He is so hard to like do a bow and arrow choke on. I don't. He's explained to me about it before, but I need to get back into that and figure it out. But he rips your hands off, like the way he grabs your hand and the angle he pulls at. It hurts your hand to have him rip it off of there like that. So I'm very interested in learning that from him. I've got Gary next on the list of my training partners. He's got good back control. He can hang out there. He's got good pressure with the seatbelt grip, and you pull in tight. And Gary, you take out a hook sometimes, and you put it behind my knee. And
I try to force you to go one way.
Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, I put it behind I take the hook out so you roll the opposite way. I'll put it behind your knee to force you to go that way. And then I like to snatch a Kimura when you roll up. That's exactly what I do. That's my signature move.
I'll be working on that. And even though if I escape the back, I'm not escaping to a good position.
Yeah.
I'm escaping to a Kimura with Gary is probably even worse. So, I got my buddy Taylor here. He's a purple belt. So all these guys, I'm going to be starting with them on my back.
Yeah, that's definitely where you. Yeah.
And why not put yourself in that position?
Yeah, you've got to.
And if we go 5 minutes and I start once and I escape and we roll, that's fine. If we start again and I escape, we could restart from the back, or we could just roll. It doesn't really matter. But I need to be putting myself there more often than not, and opposed to just giving it to them as I roll, like do some funny little move where they get my back. Let's just start there. That's what we're going to be doing more often here. So Taylor, he's aggressive. He's gonna be going after my neck a lot. I already know that. And another great benefit about him is after class, he is always willing to roll more.
Yeah.
So
it's great.
It's going to be great time to experiment, hash out things that I have with other guys that they've done to me and why I couldn't get out. So it's rare that we're not rolling and some of the last guys out in the gym.
Yep.
So that's a good feature about him as one of my guys. Jake Smith, he's deadly with that gi. So he's going to be bow and arrow choking me like left and right.
Jake's got a great bow and arrow.
So, and he's also aggressive. And when you give somebody your back, when you start the round, a lot of times they're a little bit nice about it. I don't see that being a problem with Jake Smith. I think he likes to tap me out, so that's fine. So, like Taylor will be aggressive, but he may not try to kill me every time. I think Jake Smith will go for blood.
Yeah. That's why he's so good.
Yeah. And that's why he's on my list of the guys I want to train with specifically for this. Now, any time, I might just choose to have the random guy I'm rolling with. Hey, you want to start on the back? That's fine. They shouldn't complain about that. They're starting from my back. That's the beauty.
Yeah, everybody wants to start in that position.
Yeah, that's the beauty of starting from focusing on a defensive spot is that people are happy to help you train with it because it's easy for them.
Yep. Yeah. Have you thought about maybe working with Shimani Mutombi?
Yeah, because now what he would bring to the table would be his awkward tallness.
Yeah, because I mean, when he sets the hooks, he's going to wrap his legs around you 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, like spaghetti noodles, man.
Yeah, yeah. So he's got a pretty unique game.
Now, his problem is the consistency. I want to be able to see this person on a regular basis.
Yeah, a lot of times he's traveling or in and out of the country.
Yeah, or hospital,
prison.
He'll be one of the guys that, should the opportunity arise, happy to have him help on my back.
Yeah,
but I'm not going to specifically talk to him and try to get like a lot of guidance from.
Yeah,
Shimon.
I mean he's definitely your friend, my friend, but a lot of times he can't be there.
Yeah,
my friend.
But and another example about a tip about finding help is when seminar comes through. You've got somebody in here, and they say, "Any questions you guys want?" Hello, I've got stuff I'm working on.
I know. Yeah,
everybody always says, "Oh no, we got nothing."
I think they're a little scared a lot of times. But yeah.
But I'll be happy to say, "Hey, he's on my back, and this is happening, and I haven't figured it out."
Yeah, what you said earlier, you're in charge of your own development.
Absolutely.
Don't be afraid to ask.
I know it's a weakness for me.
Yep.
I'm usually decent about getting guys from getting back there. Once they're back there, I'm not that good.
Well, it basically says that you're a very high level grappler if people aren't getting your back. But it's neat to know that you realize that, hey, people aren't getting my back very often. So when they do, I don't have a ton of practice there.
Yeah,
I like what you're doing. You're just saying, hey, I'm going to start every round with somebody on my back. I'm going to work that part. So when somebody does somehow pass my guard, I turtle up, he takes my back, I'm going to be comfortable. Well, you're never totally comfortable, but you're going to have, more tools at your disposal to get to a better position. Like you said, not just to flatten yourself on the ground and get mounted. You want to, get into a scramble and end up in a better position.
So, still in the finding help thing, the other step of like studying, I've got some books. I'm gonna run through those. I've got the BJJ University.
Yep.
And I've got a handful of books up there, so that'll be. I'll run through those and see if anything fits my game as far as escapes, because definitely I've overlooked that. I mean, you buy a big jiu-jitsu book, there's no way to absorb it all.
Yeah, and a lot of times you bought it 5 or 6 years ago. The game was a lot different, and you can always pick that book up every 6 months, and something that may have not have been perfect for you, 2 years ago or 6 months ago, now may just fit perfectly into your game, and now you understand it.
Yeah, I've also got a decent collection of DVDs. I do have the Ryan Hall Back Attack DVD. I'm going to check that out. I'm sure there's some stuff in there about defense. I don't remember there being a lot, but I'll still, as I learn more about the offense of it,
just help. Because, I like what you said. Just because it may not necessarily be defensive DVD, just watching the offense, a lot of times you can, pick apart maybe what you needed to do. Maybe he's setting your arm up in a certain, position or something to take your back, or, to grab his hook, grab a tight seatbelt. And maybe there's something you could do so that person can't get into that position.
Ryan is good about explaining what and why you're doing things. And so that's good to deconstruct why that guy is doing it in a certain way. It's gonna be that's helpful a lot as far as figuring out what I need to do to get out. And I'm going to go to YouTube, and I'm not going to watch one video and figure it out. I'm going to watch a lot of videos. I'm going to watch some of the top guys. I like to watch their videos. I like Marcelo Garcia's videos. I'll look up and see if Ryan's got any stuff, and then I'll watch some video breakdowns and figure out, just I'm not watching for fun. I'm not watching for entertainment. Find places in the video where guys escape from the back, and that's what I'm going to be watching. And that's going to actually benefit me as far as my training goes, because it has direction.
Yes.
So that's my plan. Doing the work, like we mentioned before. The basic thing is I'm going to start with guys on my back. That's the biggest thing. If guys want to drill it, that's great. Open mat. If somebody wants to drill back attack, usually when you do that, a lot of times they'll switch with you, and you can work the offense as well. doesn't really matter. And I also need to realize while I'm doing the work is I'm going to get tapped out a lot more than when I typically go to class. So if I know that going into it, it's not that big. Not that it should be a big deal anyway. But I know that my first day working on the back escapes, I'm probably going to get choked 3 or 4 times at least. That's fine. It's easier on you knowing it going in.
Yeah.
So I need to realize that it's going to be a little bit rough.
It kind of takes the ego out. You know you're starting in a bad place and you're working on something. So you know coming in you are going to get tapped out. And the only way you're going to get better is to get tapped out.
Yep. So that's my game plan as far as my development goes. I'll probably put a couple months into it, I think.
Yeah.
That'd be smart.
You know, we need to revisit here in a couple months. See how it's happened, see how your game's improved. And, I can tell you, Byron was always big on, spending time working on stuff. When I first started, I was always that guy, hey, I just drilled this 5 times. I'm pretty good at it. And, even though me and Byron were both kind of newcomers and, he was a little more practical one. He would kind of tell me, hey, you drilled this 5 times, you don't know jack, but I thought I was good at it. But, he's the one who's really helped my game by, he would tell me he'd work on something for 2 or 3 months straight. And, at first I was like, man, that just seems too much. And I tell you, my game really started exploding when I did the same thing. I'd work on, just a specific move or escape. And it's not always just offensively. I'd work on getting up off my back or, I didn't just do the offense. I'd work offense and defense, for 3 months or so. And it made big, progressions in my game. And, I appreciate him for, kind of setting me down the right path. And otherwise I wouldn't be where I'm at now without his help and guidance. So you've helped me down this path.
Thank you, Gary.
Yep.
You've helped me many a times
Yep.
as well.
Here's a gold star.
Where do I place it?
And then, one other quick note I want to say too is another thing. Like even after Byron taught me that, and I was doing it on my own, it was kind of neat. Like we would sometimes meet on Friday nights, me, him, and a couple other guys, and we would train. And it was kind of weird because really we didn't roll.
Yeah.
We just went over like one thing maybe, and we'd either start on each other's back or in side mount, or we'd just say, hey, when it was our turn, you'd pick where you wanted to be. And it seemed like we always picked at the worst possible position. And it was kind of weird because we were all really good. So, man, you'd be like, okay, I'm going to start in your triangle. we put ourselves in probably the worst positions you've ever seen. And, we would just get throttled, the person on the defense. But it really helped my game a lot.
If you think about it, let's go back, let's do the triangle. I don't know how many hours we spend a month grappling.
How often do you get put in one? Or really?
Yeah, I spend minutes a month escaping triangle.
Yeah.
Minutes.
Yeah.
Either I get nailed with it or I get out, but it's not a lot of time. Now, but if I'm going to work with Gary, I can work with Gary for 5 minutes and work on triangle escapes and get like a month's worth of triangle escape learning in a short amount of time.
Yep, I never thought of it that way, but that is true. Unless you're kind of new and going against a top-level guy, you're probably not going to spend a lot of time escaping the triangle.
You got to put the time in.
Yep.
In certain areas. And so that's what I really hope this helps you guys develop areas of your game. And it's important to sit down and think about where you're needing to develop your game.
Yep.
And so you're not working on the wrong thing.
Yeah, and that's the key, And I also like what Byron said earlier, you are in charge of your own development. And, think of it that way. Think of, I want to put myself on a path to black belt, or I want to put myself on the path to placing at this next tournament. And, you can't just expect your teacher to get there. You've got to put your own, ingenuity into it and get yourself to that next level.
Yeah, and that's part of the hard part about jiu-jitsu is I'm going to go to class 3 or 4 times a week, talking about this class, not open mat, and I'm not going to learn back escapes.
Yeah.
I'm going to learn regular techniques, and so I still needed to show the respect, and those areas of my game can still develop.
Yeah.
But my focus when I'm rolling, when I'm drilling after class. When I'm doing anything else, when I'm online looking at a move, it needs to be focused on escaping the bag for me. And that's the same as for you guys. You know, get that focus. You've got to, during class, you're going to learn other stuff. That's
and do what your instructor's showing you, drill what your instructor's, showing you, want you to drill, and during that time, that's your instructor's time. And afterwards, or during free roll, then start working on whatever you're trying to work on.
And usually, a lot of times the moves will kind of relate to each other. I mean, it's all jiu-jitsu.
Yeah,
It's all good.
It's all jiu-jitsu. We want to pass, submit, get position, defend, escape, sweep.
Sweep. Go home and shower.
Yeah.
So.
Eat a good dinner. Watch jiu-jitsu videos. Hip escape when you wake up in the morning.
Yes.
Yep. And you're all set.
Shrimp out of bed.
Yep.
If you're shrimping out of bed,
you're probably pretty good.
Yeah, you've got jiu-jitsu in the brain.
Yep.
So, all right, my friends. I hope some of you guys kind of write it down and make a list. Email us if you do it, and we'll be happy to hear from you and let us know of your progress. The email is bjjbrick@gmail.com. That'd be awesome to hear back from you guys.
Yeah, we'd like to hear. Yeah, we want to hear the success stories or anything. Just to let us know you're trying it and see how it works for you.
We do appreciate the 5-star reviews we've gotten on iTunes. If you haven't done it yet, we'd really like you to go to iTunes and find the podcast there and leave a 5-star review with a couple comments that are nice. We do like looking at those, and that does help promote the show and get it seen by more people. That's the best way to do that.
And definitely, share the podcast with your friends. Let them know about it. And we're just trying to make a better show and trying to help out everybody, with their jiu-jitsu goals, questions, whatever you need.
We definitely appreciate the shares. Anytime I hear somebody's like, my friend told me to listen to this, I want to tell your friend thank you, but I can't do it. Like, I don't know where that person is. It's like a third person away. But thank you if you ever shared the show. It means a lot to us that you would do that for us.
The 8 degrees of BJJ break.
So, we'll catch you next week, guys. Get to training, my friends.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you for listening. I hope you find the time today to roll. After all, the best way to get better at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is to do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.